Okay, our next speaker is Siyuan Zhou from the Siyuan Normal University, and the title of the talk is The Neural Mechanisms of Natural Interactive Cultural Learning. Please, go ahead.
Thanks for introduce. I will show you a study from social perspectives. Touch screen. How to switch a slide? Okay, thank you. Okay, as we know, we, the human being, we created diverse and vivid cultures around the world, such as Western culture, East Asian culture, and Islamic culture, and so on. In the past decades, cross-cultural psychologists have discovered that individuals from different cultural backgrounds exhibit distinct cultural mindset. Generally, Easterners tend to be engaged in a more holistic mindset, while Westerners tend to engage in a more analytical cultural mindset. And this distinct cultural mindset affect our cognition nearly at all levels, from the low-level perception or attention to high-level semantic or schema. For example, in the low-level cognitive processing, such as perception, the Westerner tend to focus on the center of the wheel, while the Easterner tend to focus on the background of the wheel. And in the high cognitive level, such as semantic, the Westerner tend to present the concept based on its essential property. For example, if I ask you the cow, the chicken, and the grass, which two are more closely related, the Westerner may tend to think that the cow and the chicken are more correlated because they are both animals. But the Easterner, they represent concepts based on their relationship, so they may think that the cow and the grass are more closely related because the cows eat grass. However, the question is, how do we acquire and internalize such culturally distinct mindset? Based on Vygotsky's story, which is a very old but classical story, she thought that people convey to others the way their culture interacts and respond to the world through informal conversation. And nowadays we call this social learning. And also some recently learning study indicated that people can learn better in the interpersonal social context. In this example, they found that in the low-level visual perceptual learning, learning together is better than learning alone. And in high-level learning, such as knowledge learning, the study also found that the interactive learning have a better performance than the traditional lecture learning or the video learning. However, the cultural learning is quite different from the general social learning. During the social learning, we are always goal-oriented with explicit feedback and always learning at a specific cultural, cognitive level. However, during the cultural learning, we are always goalless with implicit feedback or even no feedback, and always learning at a broad cognitive levels. So it seems that the neural mechanism of cultural learning during a naturalistic interaction context remains unclearly. And specifically, our research question is whether diverse cultural mindsets could be transmitted and acquired through interpersonal social interaction. And also, as we mentioned before, cultural mindset encompasses various cognitive levels. And at which level does the cultural learning primarily occur? This is our main research question. And to address this question, we employed an intercultural learning paradigm which combined natural conversation and naturalistic stimulus. Firstly, we recruited 31 American college students in China who can speak fluent Mandarin, served as the instructor of the cultural learning, and we paired them with 31 Chinese college students as a learner, and they forming a cultural learning group. As a control, we also recruit 35 Chinese college as instructor and pair them with another 35 Chinese participants as Chinese student as learner and form the control learning group. At the beginning of our experiment, all participants completed the questionnaire known as the analytical holistic scale to identify their default cultural mindset. This scale includes 4 dimensions, evaluate the cultural mindset from a low cognitive level to a high cognitive level. Then, each instructor-learner pair engaged in a 4-round topic discussion on some culturally relevant topics, and the learner were asked to rate the instructor's teaching quality after the conversation. And after the cultural learning, the learner needed to or required to watch a 7 minutes long ambiguous and video in the style of we call the Hader and the Samuel style. This style video use the simple geometric shapes to show a narrative and may lead to vast difference understanding among individuals, like we give the example here. And also the reason we use this kind of stimulus is that it carries less cultural information that may not mixing with our interactive cultural learning effect. During the video watching, the FNIRS data were collected, and also we collected the eye movement data and their recall transcription after the video watching. Assume that the eye movement data reflect individuals' low-level perception processing, while their recall transcription reflects their high-level video understanding processing. Our first arm is to examine whether interactive cultural learning have alerts participants' cognitive processing and to determine at which cognitive level those changes occur. And we employ the method called pairwise intersubject correlation. For the eye movement data, we calculated the similarity of their coordinate time series between pairs of learners. And for the recall transcription, we first used the Google Universal Sentence Encoder and pre-trained the NLP model suited for the long length text to extract the semantic vector of their transcription and calculated the similarity of their semantic vector between the pairs of the learner. And we found that for the semantic embedding, the similarity of the within cultural learning group and within control group was significantly higher than the between group. And the within control group is also significantly higher than the control learning group. However, in the eye movement data, the similarity of within control group, within control learning group, and intergroup have no significant difference. And this result may indicate that the cognitive processing of the cultural learning group and the within control group are different after the cultural learning. Thus, we may infer from this result that the interactive cultural learning alters people's cultural mindset from a high-level cognitive processing. And then we want to explore the effect on the cultural learning on brain. The analysis pipeline and the logic was the same as the behavior data before. And the top one is their ISC neural pattern of the control learning group, which we think it represents the default neural pattern of the Chinese to the ambiguous video. And we can see a stronger neural response in the MPFC and the left temporal cortex. And the middle one is the neural ISC pattern of the cultural learning group, and we can see only in the MPFC the neural response to the video is strong. Then after comparing and correcting, we found that cultural learning decreased the neural response of Chinese to the video in the left posterior MTG here. And then we conducted an intersubject representational similarity analysis on the semantic RDM movement RDM and neural RDM of the cultural learning group data to examine whether the neural pattern change in PMTG is correspondent to the cultural mindset changes. And we do found that the neural response RDM in left PMTG is significantly correlated with their semantic embedding RDM. And these results indicate that the neural pattern changes in the left PMTG is associated with their high-level cultural mindset changes, like in semantic level, the semantic processing. And finally, since we have not yet analysis the data in the interactive cultural learning stage itself, so there remain some confoundings. For example, the observed behavior change and the neural change might be simple caused by the cultural priming, maybe because they are nervous when they communicate with foreigner like me now. So we conducted, so to confirm that our results is related to the interpersonal processing, we conducted a modulation analysis on the neural pattern changes. And we found that, and we measured the instructor's cultural mindset with the analytical holistic scale we mentioned before, and their quality of interactive teaching. And we found that only with the higher quality of teaching, the more analytical the American who is the instructor is, the stronger cultural learning effect the learner exhibits. And further, also, as we mentioned before, the analytical holistic scale have 4 dimensions from a low-level perception attention to the high-level semantic schema processing, and we conducted a more detailed modulation analysis on each dimension separately, and we found only at the causality and contradiction dimension of the AHS scale, the modulation effect was significant, and this result also means that during the intercultural learning, only the high-level component of instructor's cultural mindset were transmitted. And our conclusion is really simple, that people can transmit and acquire diverse cultural mindsets through interactive cultural learning. And such cultural learning effect primarily alters high-level cognitive processing and its underlying neural response. And the instructor's interesting cultural mindset and the interpersonal processing both influence cultural learning effect. And I will acknowledge to my supervisor, Dr. Lu Shengming, and our team, and thanks for listening.
Thank you. We have time for a very short question if there is one. Go ahead. Can you repeat the question for everyone? Can you repeat the question?
Okay. Based on Vygotsky's theory, he thought that in the traditional class it's also included the cultural learning, but it's just a theory, and to my best knowledge, I didn't see any study to examine this question. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes. However, for example, how to say, the cultural learning is not explicit learning. But for example, if you are if you are social learning, like in a traditional class, but your teacher is the people from your cultural background, and the way like her thought and and her response to your behavior or the way he action, although it's not related to the knowledge you learn in the class, but you also may explicitly learn those of things like her way of thought, like the way of her action, and those may be called the cultural learning processing, although it's very implicit. Thank you.
Okay, let's thank our speaker again.